Layton Beard van die Automobiel Assosiasie van Suid-Afrika kuier vanoggend by ons en ons gesels oor daai besmette diesel wat in 'n paar vulstasies gekry het en wat ons nou te doen staan. Good morning, Layton, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Good to be with you.
Layton, just for people that completely missed the news or missed the story, can you just give us some background as to how many petrol stations were involved with regards to the affected diesel, where they're in certain provinces, where are they, and how big is the problem?
Okay, so a report was released about 2 weeks ago through News 24, in which they revealed that the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy had done a sample of around 1,070 filling stations in South Africa. They did samples from stations in all 9 provinces. And of this, they found that 70 of these filling stations have what is known as dirty diesel or adulterated diesel, which means that there is paraffin within that diesel. Now, what happens is that the DMRE puts what they call an A1 marker in diesel, and when they do samples, they check the diesel, and if the presence of the A1 marker is there, then they know that there is paraffin in that diesel. So of the 1,070 filling stations that were tested, 70 were shown to have dirty diesel. And just to put that into context, we have around about 5,500 filling stations in South Africa. Now, if you look at that sample and you look at the number of 70 compared to that, then obviously the percentage is very low. It obviously gets higher when you bring it down to 1,070. It's around 7%. We don't believe there is cause for panic just yet, but we would like to see the DMRE, the department, explaining exactly what the methodology was, what the sample size was, and what they're going to do going forward in terms of dealing with this issue of dirty diesel.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you now. So if you've got the sample of 70, will the department now, because there is 70, actually do take more samples to see if it is a wider problem?
Yes, they will. Look, I don't speak on behalf of the department, but certainly they will continue to do that. And it's something that they do on an ongoing basis. And this is not a new problem. I mean, the issue of dirty diesel has been around for many, many years. So the department is aware of the problem. And it does do samples. And many of the bigger companies, the bigger oil companies that sell petrol to consumers actually self-regulate and do this themselves. So, they've got too much on the line in terms of their reputation and in terms of their brand loyalty to be messing about with dirty diesel. So they certainly do ensure that they provide as clean a fuel as they can to the motorist. And that obviously happens within a regulated environment. In terms of what we've seen now, the department has said it will issue non-compliance certificates to these filling stations that have been selling adulterated diesel, which means that they can't continue doing that. There will obviously, we hope, be a measure of policing to ensure that doesn't happen. But it's all around profiteering. It's all around the fuel pricing. It's a big problem. It has been for a long time. It's getting worse, apparently, because of the sale of paraffin has increased immensely. But yes, the department is aware of this, and as far as we are aware, they are acting upon it in a good way.
Layton, you refer to the fact that there will be further policing, but what are the implications of these findings for those filling stations that have been found to sell adulterated diesel?
Yeah. Look, Pierre, I mean, obviously what happens is that the non-compliance certificates are issued and there's follow-ups to ensure that they don't continue doing that. What the department is going to do going forward, I think, is for them to answer. From a consumer perspective, we would obviously not want those people to be selling diesel any longer. But the department has to ensure that there is policing. And like I said, I don't want to speak on their behalf. I think they'd be in a better position to answer how they will deal with that going forward.
I want to ask, does the problem lie with the filling stations? Do they knowingly buy this dirty diesel, or does it lie with the companies that produce or actually they buy from?
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't know, and obviously we'd like to see the results of the samples that were taken and of the research was done. There was a big call for the naming and shaming of the make a very good point. A filling station could have very well bought diesel from a wholesaler legitimately and legally, and in the knowledge that the fuel that they were buying was clean fuel and unadulterated. But that fuel could have been tampered with, and it could have been sold like that to the filling station, who then obviously unknowingly has sold it on to the consumer. The filling station is not going to test that fuel. That's not their job. Their job is to retail the fuel that they get, and that's exactly why when you look at the big brand companies, they do a lot of testing on site before it actually goes off to the filling station, and that filling station then knows when they pump that into the underground containers, that when they actually fill it up for the motorist, that fuel is going to be clean. So we don't know. We simply don't have an answer to that, and that's again why we want the DMRE to come forward and to give us more information on exactly what happened with this research and the sampling that they did.
Ons gesels vanoggend met Layton Beard van die Automobiel Assosiasie van Suid-Afrika oor besmette diesel. And Layton, we spoke a lot about the filling stations and the dirty diesel, but I want to know as a consumer if those names will ever be made public. Because how do I know as a consumer that I might have gone to one of these filling stations and that I'm staring a problem in the eyes?
Yeah. Look, it's a tough question to answer. First of all, you would probably not know that you're getting dirty diesel. I think some of the warning signs would be, if you have a loss of power in your vehicle, so you're driving and, normally when you put the accelerator down, the car just goes, and you kind of over a period of time begin to see that that's waning. You may be hearing some strange noises from your engine. Even if you take that car into a mechanic, the problem may be, even if they strip the engine, it might not be immediately clear that the reason has been this dirty diesel. So it's very difficult for motorists to know if they're buying dirty diesel. So the process of adulterating fuel means that there's an addition of paraffin to the diesel, which means that the volume of that diesel is therefore increased, which means that you can sell more, which means that you can make more money from it. And that's the reason that these people are doing this. They're adulterating this fuel. They're basically watering it down with diesel, which means that you could probably sell it for a lot less than what the market would sell. Now, diesel is an unregulated fuel in South Africa, which makes this even more tricky, because whereas petrol is a regulated fuel and you will pay the same more or less at different filling stations, with diesel, the retailer can sell it for whatever price they want. So one big red flag for motorists is if they are seeing that, last month they were paying 21 Rand a litre for diesel, now they're paying 18 Rand 50, that may be an indication to them that this fuel is selling for way less than it should, and therefore there may be an issue with it. So we would suggest to people, be on the lookout for really cheap fuel. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. The other piece of advice we'd give to people, if you've been buying diesel from a reputed dealer over a period of time and you've never had problems, there's no cause for you to worry. There's no cause for you to panic. Continue buying your diesel from that filling station. We are led to believe that the problem is mostly occurring in many of the agricultural and rural areas, where a lot of the farmers are buying diesel for their farms, and that, and obviously many consumers are buying it there as well. But that's where we are led to believe the predominant problem is. I'm not saying that's only where it is, but that's predominantly where it is. But if you've been buying from a big brand name company and you're happy with the service and the quality, there's no reason why you should panic.
Layton, just as a quick aside, for the rest of you who don't know why, petrol is regulated, diesel isn't, the price on diesel isn't regulated. What's the reason for that?
Yeah, it's a very historical reason, and it had to do a lot with the agricultural sector, where many of the retailers, many of the smaller operators were felt that they could sell it for cheaper because it wasn't regulated, and obviously be a benefit to the agriculture community. So that's one of the reasons why it isn't a regulated fuel. Now, many times we've heard that the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy and/or the government has said that they want to do a similar thing with the price of petrol. So if you, for instance, in Pretoria, and you buy your petrol at petrol station A, which is in, let's say, the Moot, you can get it at a specific price. But if you're going to buy it at a specific place in Linwood, it's going to be at a different price. That's how it currently works with diesel. The thinking behind it is that obviously opens it up to competition, and that people can obviously shop around. But the historical reason has always been that it was unregulated to benefit the agricultural sector predominantly, who could then benefit from cheaper prices wherever they were buying it from.
Layton, if I drive a vehicle and I'm starting to see problems because I do have dirty diesel in my vehicle, who takes responsibility for that?
I don't know. It's a great question. Look, I mean, I get asked this question a lot, and I'm sorry I'm chuckling, but I don't know the answer to that. You know, you could take it to a mechanic who could then verify that this is as a result of the dirty diesel. You'd obviously need to do tests to prove that, you know, it was the dirty diesel. But then you'd also need to prove I bought it from this specific filling station, you know, and you'd have to have a very good record to show that you actually bought it from that filling station. And that filling station may come back and say, well, you know, we know nothing about this. They may either mea culpa, or they could say, well, you know, we bought it from a legitimate source and the source gave it to us and we believed it was good. And then you may need to go back to the wholesaler or back to whatever company. So it's a really tough question to answer, and I simply don't have that answer. What I would say to people, again, is rely on where you've always bought your fuel, because that's obviously going to be the best for you. In terms of legal recourse, I think it's a minefield. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the answer to that.
Sure.
Well, Layton, thank you very much. I have no answers to my problems with my diesel, so thanks for nothing.
Yeah, but well, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the best advice I can give is just drive properly, you know. And if your Bentley isn't performing, then maybe you need to take it in for a service.
Oh, brilliant. Layton, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and just the fact that you gave us some clarity this morning. So thank you so much for joining us.